What's up, everyone? Welcome back for a new episode of Life After Stranger right here on Player One versus the World. I have the absolute pleasure of welcoming on Emily Sargeant. Emily played Taylor Christensen in Before the Storm, the Taylor you didn't see in Before the Storm, but Emily is here. Emily, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
No, of course. When I found out that Taylor had a voice actor, as I said, this series is kind of like for the unsung heroes for any actor, from motion capture to actual voice actors. And when I knew that you played Taylor, but she wasn't in the game, I was like, I would still want you on here because I think it's fascinating that you still did all the lines. And we'll dig into Taylor shortly because I kind of want to kick off things with about you personally. How did you end up getting into acting?
Oh my gosh. How I went into acting. I've been acting since I was in middle school, and it's just always what I've known, what I've wanted to do, and I haven't thought of any other career path.
Fair enough. I imagine the pandemic's hit a little bit too much on that.
Yeah, it's interesting, but I think actors have found other ways to get creative and figure out what to do. I mean, there's TikTok as an avenue, and I'm taking Zoom acting classes, and it's really fun. And there's still people filming, so.
Yeah, I found that.
Sorry. Yeah, and voiceover is so big now, too, because you could do it from your home, and it's a lot safer.
Exactly. So I think there's easy ways of developing skills in between. Most of the actors I've spoken to have said that as well, so it's quite a reoccurring theme. And in that as well, you know, you're an actor. Any major influences, any actors you liked growing up who kind of like helped shape your career?
Ooh, actors that helped shape my career? I don't know, but my acting teacher said that the character in Queen's Gambit really, I remind her of that, the lead character in that. So I was like, okay, I'll take it. And then Alison Brie and Emma Roberts, I would love to play any role they play.
Good shout. Very good choices, those. And a big compliment for the Queen Gambit comparison as well. I'll take that.
Yes, thank you.
And as well, with that as well, I find very often when I'm talking to actors on this series and just in general, they have so much wide skill sets. And for you yourself, you're a model, you're a singer. You know, did those become a pursuit because you went into acting, or was that something you did before you decided to go into acting?
Singing, I feel like I started singing before I started acting. I love singing, but modeling is kind of more of like a new thing for me because I'm based in LA and there's so much print modeling out there. So I was like, oh wait, I could do this. I'm not the tallest person, but I could definitely give it a shot.
No, oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And for like in LA as well, opportunities seem to be quite open for actors. So
oh yeah.
Yeah, of course. And so I think like we have to address the elephant in the room, which is going to be Life is Strange, as many people come to. And, you know, you were involved with Before the Storm. How did you end up get yourself involved in that project? How did you audition? What was it like?
Well, it was everything. There was so much like non-disclosure for the audition. I had no idea what I was even auditioning for. I just knew it was a voiceover gig, and I went to the audition. They wanted it in person, which I feel like is so different than usual voiceover auditions. So I guess they really cared about my look. I'm not a blonde, but I just went in there. I said the voice, and then they were like, okay, you're cast like a week later. And I was like, oh, easy, great. And I had no idea what it was for, but I was like, cool.
No, I find sometimes like some of the actors have done their auditions and then sent the tapes, and I think maybe that was the case with the first Life is Strange. And then with yourself as well, if Taylor had been in the game, even though she's an established character, they might have taken some of your likeness from her. Because like, I've known that some of the actors have come in and they've taken like their facial features, and you can see in the characters as soon as you see a headshot of them and you see the actual characters. So maybe they did invite you in just to kind of have a look at your face and then be like, we can kind of design a couple of things off that.
Maybe, because definitely when I was in the booth, they had a camera on my face, and they would, I wasn't motion capture, but they were still definitely watching for my facial expressions and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think if you told me the camera thing, I'm going to be absolutely sure they had some kind of like thought process on that. That's what I found from speaking to actors in the series. And obviously, unfortunately, Taylor is cut from the game, which is the horrible part. And as you said, the game was heavily guarded by code names, and as I found as well that they've done that. But at what point did you realize Taylor wasn't in the game?
So there were A couple moments. I was very confused at first that it wasn't in the game. My friend, I have another friend that's in it that got cast. I think there's like a scene where there's stoners, or is there? But he was in it, and then he saw the credits, and he saw my name pop up. But he's like, "But wait, where is she? Like, she's in this?" And he was confused. And then my brother played the game, and he said he did not see or hear my voice. So I was like, "Wait a second." And then I figured out by like Googling and stuff that it got cut. But oh well.
At least you got credit though. That's the main thing.
It's so cool that I got a credit, that I got to be in it. It's such a funny scene too. And I'm so thankful that a fan posted that scene. I don't know how they got it, but they posted it on YouTube, and I'm glad I saw it. It's so good.
I'm glad I saw it as well. And we'll kind of dig into that scene in a little bit because there's quite a couple of things to pick out of it. But I kind of wanted to ask you, because I'm not going to ask you if you were disappointed that she wasn't in the game, because I can know what your answer is going to be. But as I said, like before we started, I had Megan Elizabeth Kelly on this show, and she did the motion capture for Taylor along with some of the other characters, just based on the fact that you did lines for her, and then also the motion capture was done. I imagine that's where they kind of like... presumably the fact that you were kind of more shocked that they cut the character at that point, knowing those two factors were both done.
Yeah, it was kind of definitely a bummer. But I think looking back on the scene, it kind of makes Chloe look super mean. And I don't know if it helps with her character development in the whole video game. So I think it was probably for the best. And it was just more of a humorous scene, like entertainment. So I get it.
No, I did enjoy that scene. As I said, we'll come on to that because there's a couple of things we can pull away from that. But as well, did they ever tell you why you got cut from the game, or did you ever ask?
They didn't tell me anything. I didn't know that I wasn't in it. I had to find out like through other ways, and I was like, "Aw."
Okay, I thought I'd ask because that is on my burning list of questions to ask if I ever get a chance for the developers to ask them that. But I think she was just cut from time purposes. I think that might have been.
Yeah, I think it. I think time.
Yeah, I think that, So obviously you did still record lines for Taylor. You went into the recording booth with Philip. What was your experience like in that recording booth doing lines for Life is Strange Before the Storm?
It was so fun. It was so professional. I was there with the girl who played Chloe. She was in the room with me. So that made it a lot easier for us to like play off each other.
Oh, wait. So you and Rihanna DeVries were in the same...
Yeah, we were in the same booth when we did it. Yeah.
Oh, really? I never knew that because like that's a rarity with this series as well to do dual recording sessions. Because like even from what I can remember off the top of my head, I had Rachel Amber's voice actor on here, Kylie Brown, and she didn't do a single dual recording session with her, which is weird when they're the two main characters, and it's mainly down to budgeting and other stuff. But I'm very surprised that even during that Backtalk scene that you have with Taylor and Chloe, that you were doing lines with Rihanna.
Yes, it was so fun, and she is such a great actress. And I mean, you know, in the booth they were just cracking up. It was so funny. Like I was such a bitch. I was so funny.
Where did you tap into that inner sassiness for Taylor?
I think I'm just a sassy person, but I think the characters that I do play, I do tend to go, I'm my type. I do tend to play like mean girls or like the popular girl. That's like a type that I play, but I felt bad. Like when I was saying some of the lines, like, especially like, you know, they would have like multiple takes of like the same line and you have to keep saying it. And I'm like, yeah. I'm sorry.
Amazing. And I have to ask because like we know that the lines that you did were for the first episode and there's like unused assets that show that maybe she might have been in the second episode. Did you just do one studio session when you were working the game?
I did two.
Two?
Yes.
Was it
and
just
I don't think Rihanna was there for the second one.
Right. Were they back-to-back sessions or were they spread out?
They were separate days. They were very spread out. Yeah.
Okay. I thought I'd just check. How long were those sessions normally that you were in the studio for?
It was so quick, which made me even more curious about what am I even recording for? It was super quick. I think the first session was like an hour and a half. and they had booked me for 2 hours, and same for the second session. But the second session was like 30 minutes. It wasn't even long at all.
Yeah, I've heard sometimes that it can be like lightning fast where they just turn people over just because they have to get the lines. And just because of how the game's built as well, they have to do it like in really fast succession. What was your experience like with the VO director, Philip Bache, when you were working in there?
He's great. He was so helpful, and it's just amazing how they can hear everything, just every single detail. They would just say, say this like letter a little more explosive, or emphasize this. And it's just so specific, and it's fascinating how they pick up on things. It's amazing. It's like a talent. It's a lot of tedious work.
No, I know what you mean, because like sometimes they kind of like do different things to get different reactions out there. The actors, and the VO director Philip, like he's got the most legendary reputation of every voice actor I've spoken to in this series. So it doesn't surprise me that you also had so it doesn't surprise me that you had a really good experience with him.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, like, obviously you've seen that scene with Taylor that you were in. And while we don't know what Taylor specifically looked like in Before the Storm, so that scene included the asset figure for her in the first game. So that's what Taylor looks like in the first game. When you were playing this character, what was going through your mind of like what she looks like, and specifically when you were recording lines for her?
Oh gosh, I didn't really know that she was a blonde, because I didn't know what I was filming or shooting for, and I just thought, they're looking at my face, so she's going to probably look a little closer to what I look like. So I did not think she would be a blonde. I'll say that.
Fair enough. What did you make of her when you saw what she looked like in that first game, the character they used for the unused footage?
Yeah, I thought it was super, super cool, because yeah, my voice can kind of sound like a blonde. Like I was like, okay, I get it. And it was just kind of cool seeing my voice as a blonde. It's different.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And obviously, let's dig into that scene. So, like, I watched it. I thought it was really cool because it was a Backtalk scene where it's Taylor versus Chloe. And then in that as well, I think what you said before was quite interesting to me, where you said that you think it makes Chloe look pretty mean and like aggressive. But then other people in the comments were like, is she being a bit plastic? Because we know what Taylor's like, because Taylor's one of the Victoria's like in her posse, and is she actually taking the piss out of her, or is she being genuinely? Where do you stand on that? Do you think she was being plastic? Do you think it was Chloe's fault more?
Who, Taylor? Was she being?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think Taylor was obviously, like, when you play a character, you can't see them as a victim. You have to really like justify their meanness. But I think she definitely was in the wrong, and she was just being mean for like, she didn't think she was being mean, but it was so mean. I think she's just really entitled and just thought she was genuinely helping out.
No, fair enough. It was an interesting scene for me. Like, on that perspective, I thought it would have been quite a nice addition for both characters to be in there, because it is lacking on Victoria's side, that kind of character. But I have to kind of, we see what Taylor looks like in the first game in that cutscene. Was there any interest on your side to kind of like go back and look at Taylor's history, kind of her backstory? Did you ever do that at any point?
Definitely after I saw that, I think it was when I discovered the clip that fan had posted, I realized I did more research on the game, and I realized that there was another person that had played the Taylor. And then I was like, wow, this is fascinating that there's been this whole story that I didn't even know about that she had. So I did do a little bit of research, like when I first discovered that there was even a Life is Strange. So
the other question is, Taylor's not in the game, but did you have any curiosity to sit down, watch Before the Storm, or play for it on your side?
This is very disappointing. I am not a gamer, so I have not played it, but I hear that it is so fun to play. They did give me a free copy of it, but I don't have the stuff to play it, but I think it's so cool how it just tells a story.
Yeah. I mean, like, you'd be surprised that a lot of the actors I do speak on here don't play games, and they kind of like really shy to admit it. Yeah, and they're just really shy to admit it. I'm like, no, it's like you're an actor. It's like your job. Like, you don't have to like necessarily have to play games. But is there any desire to play it at some point if you ever get the chance? You do own it.
I think it would be so fun to play. I remember when I had just discovered the title of what it was, I remember telling my brother, he plays games, and I told him about it. And he was like, wait, what? You're in that game? He's like, that's a huge game. And I was like, are you serious? I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, take it. Especially when you tell anyone you're in a video game, I'd like take any kind of compliment. I've always had it to actors. I always ask them if like, have you ever told a friend or family? And like, yeah, and it's like it's so unreal and it's like so cool that they tell me about that. So I'm not surprised by his reaction in that sense. And one of the other things I want to ask you is like, I with actors when I bring them on, I always do digging into their, like social media and everything else. You posted that you were playing Taylor on your social media. You know, it's on your website, the clip that's there. And while some actors I probably might have been a bit like rubbed off by the fact that they get characters not in there, you fully embrace it. Like I'm surprised that there's not a bit on you kind of like, oh, I wish Taylor was in there, and it's just kind of annoys you. But you're like fully embracing of that idea.
Oh yeah. I mean, what's the point in getting upset? It was an honor to be even a part of it. I have the scene. I had so much fun. It was such a great experience. So I don't need it to be in the video game. The fans know about it. The fans that care will see it.
They do know that, and it's obviously here as well, so that someone will definitely find it.
Yes.
So obviously we can talk about Life is Strange for a while, but I think like I wanted to ask you like how's life treating you during the pandemic as an actor? You know, has there been any favorite projects you worked on since before the storm?
I am not sure I would have a favorite project since then, but since the pandemic, it's definitely been interesting, especially as an actor. They have a lot of there's still work out there, and I've booked a lot of commercials. I've been lucky, but I think a lot of it is there's so much more opportunity for voiceover right now. So that's the good thing about the pandemic. You could find a lot of jobs just from your home and a lot of shooting at home too.
No, that's really cool. And you mentioned it earlier in this episode where you said that you developed your skills in other areas whilst the pandemic's going down. How long those sessions, like how much time do you commit like per day in a week during those like kind of like little sessions?
Like sessions like in the booth or?
Oh no, in terms of like, do you like how you said like you do Zoom classes and stuff for acting? Like how much time do you commit like in a week to doing those kind of things?
Oh my gosh, how much time do I commit to acting? So much. Like I don't even want to think about it. All of my time. Like it takes over my life. It's all I can think about. My acting class is like 4 hours every week, but you're supposed to rehearse every day. So I spend a lot of time to acting. It's always on my brain.
And if we move on to just like voice acting, you said those kind of like VO opportunities are open. Have you applied for anything specifically in gaming in terms of VO?
I haven't seen any castings for VO, but I just finished my voiceover reel. I just edited it, and I am ready to send it out and start getting more of those voiceover gigs.
Very cool. Is Taylor in there?
Taylor, she's not. I got to put her in. I should put her in, but I think she deserves her own special reel.
Okay, I can understand that, but I think you should definitely put her in there. It's always good to have like a video game in there. So what would be your dream role to work on, like project wise, like actor? What would be the dream scenario for you as an actor?
Dream scenario would be, just a recurring or a regular on a TV show. I would love to be on American Horror Story. Something like that, Queen's Gambit, that'd be fun. Or some like a role like that. It's that's the dream, just to be on TV.
Oh, I'm sure you'll get there as well. There's so many cool,
oh yeah,
like,
it's
roles.
just this little pandemic is a little bit in the way.
Oh, I feel a lot for actors in this pandemic. But I kind of wanted to ask you as well. This is kind of like thrown in improv, but a lot of the people I speak to, they always want to be an actor from this game. They always want to do VO work. They're always so keen on it. They always say to me like, I don't know where to go. What would be the best advice you would give to an up and coming actor in terms of getting into the industry, in terms of VO work, in terms of acting, based on your experience as well?
I think definitely get LA casting if you're looking to be an actor, especially if you're in LA. Get a reel. The reel is the most important thing to showcase your work. credits are important, but I feel like a reel is more important. And just put yourself out there and put it into the world that you're doing it, and showcase your work and be proud of it. And you never know what it's gonna come of it when you tell your people and put yourself out there.
No, it's fantastic advice. Very valuable as well. You'll want to hear from actors is usually take rejection and be acceptable to it. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of expect that with an acting gig.
Yeah.
So we're coming to the end of my show, and I always ask every guest this. So there's currently plans for a Life is Strange TV show. And while you would love to play Taylor, I'm not going to give you that opportunity again. Instead, I'm going to put you in the role of casting director. Who would you cast as Taylor and why? You have free choice here on actors.
Ooh, I don't know. Who? Obviously blonde. Emma Roberts would be good. She'd be great at it. I don't know. I have to think more about that. I don't know.
Why would you pick Emma Roberts, though, if we're going with that one?
She usually plays the mean girls. I don't know. I
That's
would have
good.
to do more. I have to do more digging to figure out who would be good.
No, I understand. I know a lot of the anyone who's like people I brought on here who have played Victoria, have played Taylor, the other characters. They've always said like they'll pick someone from Mean Girls. I'm like,
Oh
okay,
yeah, Regina George, I think for sure.
yeah, it's not the go-to for most people. Well, as I said, Emily, we're at the end of the show. I always let my guests have a final say before we close out, and they send a message to Life is Strange fans. I'll let you take it from here.
Okay, to all the fans that watch Life is Strange, thank you so much for playing this game. And especially if you know who Taylor is in this game, I appreciate it so much. You have no idea. To that fan that uploaded that video, the deleted scene, thank you so much. You guys have no idea how much we appreciate you.
Thank you for a wonderful message, and also thank you to that fan as well, because I enjoyed watching that as well. It always helps on my side. But yeah, that's the episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please comment, rate, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. It really does help with the channel. Emily, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate your time. It's been fascinating to talk about Taylor with you. And yeah, guys, stay tuned. There's more episodes to come. I had a wonderful guest on today, and we'll have another one soon. Take care, guys.